to use LinkedIn for business success, and we are so honored to have Kevin Knebl here. He is a world-renowned LinkedIn expert, social media expert, and more importantly, he is a relationship building expert. I've followed Kevin for several years, and when he starts talking about social media is all about relationship building, that to me rang home really deeply. It's because it is about relationships. Kevin's an international speaker, author, trainer, and executive coach whose clients include small, medium, and Fortune 500 companies. He speaks at conferences all around the world. So for any of you who have companies that do company trainings, or if you're putting together conferences, Kevin would be an excellent resource for you to bring into any of those. He's also the co-author of the Social Media Sales Revolution, the new rules for finding customers, building relationships, and closing more sales through online networking. And he's a contributing author to Learn Marketing with Social Media in 7 Days. He was a top salesperson in the world for an international consulting company with over 300 salespeople in 11 countries. So he comes from a long line of understanding sales. And he's trained hundreds of organizations and tens of thousands of professionals in the most profitable uses of LinkedIn since 2004. So that's probably about when LinkedIn was really just kicking off, wasn't it, Kevin?
It just about was, yeah.
Yeah, so right from the very beginning. And he's got over 1,700 client recommendations on his LinkedIn profile. So, you know, he knows what he's talking about here, and I'm just really honored to have you, Kevin, and so thank you for being here.
Well, thank you, Cammie. It's very kind of you to introduce me that way, and thank you for having me here. It's an honor to be here. You and I have crossed paths a couple times over the years, and when you mentioned to me that you were thinking about doing a LinkedIn webinar, I said, hey, why, if you want me to do that, I'd be happy to do it because you're totally awesome, so I'm happy to do this. So,
thank you.
So thank you, everybody, for tuning in, taking a little bit of time out of your busy day to watch this. Now, let me just kind of preface this and say that a lot of the work that I do in terms of speaking and training typically is in the 3-hour-plus range, 3 hours up to full day, sometimes multi-day. We've got about an hour here this morning. So no matter how fast I speak, and I can speak pretty fast, but no matter how fast I speak, we're just scratching the tip of the iceberg as to what can really be done with LinkedIn as a business tool. So let me just start by saying that because of your relationship with Cammie, you automatically have a relationship with me because I really like Cammie and I think she's very cool. So by extension, I think you're cool. So if you have questions, thoughts, ideas about anything that I'm going to cover today or anything in the future, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help you. Give me a call, shoot me an email. I give you my word as a gentleman that I'll help you out. So let's jump into it. The worst way in the world to teach somebody how to ride a bike is to show them a PowerPoint presentation on how to ride a bike. So what I'm going to do, and what I've been doing for over 12 years on LinkedIn, is I'm going to run through a couple slides very quickly, and then we're going to jump onto the internet because it's much more effective for me to show you how to use LinkedIn in real time versus a bunch of canned static PowerPoint slides. But I want to give you a quick minute or two background on who I am because it does paint a lot of context and relevance to what I'm going to cover with you. I'm originally from New Jersey. I live in Colorado now, moved here 11 years ago, but I'm originally from New Jersey, and what I used to do for a living many years ago was I was a long-haired piano-playing guy. And I can assure you, if you are a piano-playing guy and you can sing and play piano and play Gershwin and Cole Porter and Billy Joel and Elton John, it's a great way to make a living. So that's a picture of me from back when the Earth was cooling. I think that was taken shortly after the invention of the camera. So that was me back in the old days. I was Robert Plant from Led Zeppelin. And what happened was I ended up marrying a woman who booked me to play piano at her wedding to another man. Now, I don't have the time to tell you the rest of that story right now, but I got married to her. She never married that loser. And this was way back in the early 90s, so Al Gore had not invented the Internet yet. So back in those days, we used to look for a job in the want ads, and I knew that late nights and smoky bars wasn't going to cut it anymore as a married guy. So I cut off my long hair, and I went from this to that and got a suit, and I got into sales very begrudgingly, because if you can give me all the Myers-Briggs and the DISC profiles and anything you want to give me, I'm always going to score 1,000% to the right. I am a complete artsy-fartsy creative piano-playing guy. Don't let the suit and the tie and the Mont Blanc and the wingtips fool you. I am a hippie in a suit. So I got into sales completely out of my comfort zone. To be quite frank, a sex change would have been more in my comfort zone. But I got into sales because I love my wife, and I figured out very quickly, because I had some good mentors, that long-term success in business. Now, I want you to really hear what I'm saying right now, because I don't care what you do for a living. This applies to you. No matter what you do for a living, once you get past the technical aspect of your chosen profession, your long-term success in your chosen profession is always going to come down to your ability to create, nurture, and deepen relationships. Now, I don't say that to be a motivational speaker. I don't say it to rally the troops. This isn't a kumbaya group hug moment. But if you've been in sales for a little while, or you've been in business for a little while, you know that what I'm saying is absolutely true, and it's actually as obvious as gravity. Once you get past the technical aspect of your profession, your long-term success is always going to come down to building relationships. So I started studying that in the early 90s. I started reading things like How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, and I completely immersed myself in the self-help world, and I read everything that I could get by you name it, everybody from Deepak to Wayne Dyer to Tony Robbins to Louise Hay, and you name an author, I could probably rattle off 5 books. I've read 2 books on average per month every month since October of '92. I am a voracious reader, and a lot of the reading that I do is in the realm of emotional intelligence, personal development, self-actualization. So I started reading that stuff, and I started applying what I was learning to my sales efforts. And what was interesting is most of my sales colleagues didn't read at all, but the ones that did read, they were reading books like, How to Be a Hard Closer and all this other stuff, and I wasn't reading any of that crap. I was reading about how to connect with people on a human level, because that just resonated with me. So I very quickly went from never having sold a thing in my life. Less than 3 years later, I was the top salesperson in the world. I was very successful in the corporate sales arena, and I was blessed, and I take none of that for granted, and I'm not cocky or arrogant about any of it. But what happened was in Cinco de Mayo 2003, the 5th of May 2003, LinkedIn launched. Can you believe LinkedIn's 12 years old? So through dumb luck, I got on LinkedIn within 60 days of the launch. So I got on LinkedIn, and the first time I opened it up, I said to myself, oh my God, this is an online Rolodex. Now, Cammie probably doesn't remember what that is, because I have cowboy boots older than Cammie. So Cammie, back in the old days, we had this thing called a Rolodex, and you would put business cards on it and stuff like that, and that's, there were no Palm Pilots, there were no iPhones. So I'm really not a technology guy at all. The irony is people think, oh, he speaks all around the world on social media, he must be a computer geek. Totally wrong. I'm 50 years, they tell me I'm 50, I still feel like I'm 21, but I turned 50 in December. I'm 50 years old. As of this moment right now, I still have never once ever created a PowerPoint presentation or an Excel spreadsheet. I don't know how. I don't want to know how. I'd rather crawl over barbed wire naked. So when I got onto LinkedIn, I said, this is a Rolodex. Why don't I just apply online all the principles, systems, and routines that have worked for me offline in terms of creating, nurturing, and deepening relationships? And lo and behold, it works really well. Within a couple of years, I was getting so many requests to do speaking and training engagements that I quit my job, and now I travel all around the world on a weekly basis. I usually speak in 1 city a week, sometimes more than 1, but usually 1. So on any given week, I could be in Sydney, Australia, I could be in Seattle, I could be in London, England, I could be in New Jersey, I could be in Panama. Today, I'm in my home office in Colorado. So the reason I'm giving you the backstory, folks, isn't to buy time. I don't need to buy time. I got more than enough content. The reason I'm giving you the backstory is because I want you to know that in some ways, I'm probably you. If you're listening to this right now and you're a business owner, well, I totally get that because I'm a business owner too. If you're a solopreneur or you're a sole proprietor or you're a coach or a therapist or a business owner, whatever you do, I understand the world you live in, so this is not going to be a bunch of theoretical mumbo-jumbo. I'm going to show you exactly what works because I've been very blessed to help my clients generate millions and millions of dollars in client acquisition, referral creations, networking partnerships, strategic alliances, and all that kind of stuff. You can boil everything I teach down to a couple things. And I think it's ironic that some of the things that our parents taught us many years ago are actually more true now than when they taught us many years ago. At the end of the day, in my world, and you're just getting my world today, so your world may be different, but I got the mic for 60 minutes, so you're getting my world. In my world, it always comes back to relationships. So I remember when I was a kid, I was told if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all. Well, that's true. It's even more true now because you are leaving a social footprint whether you know it or not. You're leaving evidence behind you on your LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram, whatever it is, whatever accounts you're using, or even on Google. You are leaving a social and digital footprint behind you. Now, if at any point in this presentation you think I'm talking about stalking, you have misunderstood me. I am not talking about stalking. If I look at Cammie's Facebook page or I look at her LinkedIn profile, I am doing what we used to call in the old days due diligence, market research. I just call it being a professional because professionals do their homework. Professionals do things that amateurs don't. That's why professionals live like amateurs won't. So I'm not trying to find out anything about Cammie that she's not willingly putting on her social media platforms. And also, you want to make sure that if you're going to be on social media or on the internet, just don't, if you wouldn't whisper it in your grandmother's ear, don't post it on the internet. It's going to be taken out of context. Somebody's going to take it the wrong way, and it's going to cost you an opportunity. Number two, you need a very clear and compelling social media presence. You don't need to be a social media expert, but you do have to have a good presence because people are going to check you out, and they're going to make buying, hiring, and referral decisions based on what they see. Huge doors of opportunity swing on little tiny hinges, so let's make sure that you're presenting the right first impression. And number three, you need to understand how to continue to use some old school, offline, high touch relationship building practices, which I'm going to teach you some of those, and also combine that with online practices to create, nurture, and enrich and deepen relationships. That's it. All things being equal, people do business with and refer business to people they know, like, and trust. You could pretty much file that under duh. Most people know that. But if you were to ask people, tell me give me some kind of clearly defined strategy, and I don't mean that in a cold, manipulative way, but give me some kind of a clearly defined strategy on how you create know, like, trust relationships. Most people don't have one, and by most I mean 99.9. What most people have is a newsletter, an e-zine, and I'm not putting that down. There's a time and a place for that. But most people don't truly understand how to really connect with other people on a real personal level, so we'll cover that. I'm really not a big fan of the word social media, which might sound weird because in my simple mind, media tends to be a one-way monologue. Radio is media, TV is media, billboards are media. We left the world of people wanting to be talked at a long time ago. People want to talk with. So I don't really use the word social media. I use the word social networking. But networking is really nothing more than a $5 word for making friends. That's all it is. Networking is the cultivation of mutually beneficial win-win relationships. So you're going to see, as I run through this quick presentation, how I'm really bringing offline, high-level networking practices to an online, digitally connected world. Social networking is nothing more than combining old-school, high-touch relationship skills with new-school, high-tech communication platforms. Real quick, fast growth, Facebook. If you're on Facebook, please feel free to follow me on Facebook. I set up my Facebook wall as a 24/7, 365 cocktail party many years ago. I'm not asking you to follow me on Facebook because I need more friends. I've got about 8,000 or so people that follow me on Facebook every day. But I'm just saying it to you because in business, as a business person, a lot of people watch what I do on Facebook and they see kind of how I am, and they apply some of that to their own personal situation, and they end up making more money. So if you want to join the cocktail party, please feel free to come over to my page and follow me. LinkedIn, we're going to do a deep dive into LinkedIn in a moment. Twitter, I'm not here to talk about Twitter, but Twitter is a gold mine for business people and especially for job seekers. My record for helping somebody find a job, even though I don't put myself out there as a career coach, is 8 minutes. I helped somebody find a highly specific niche job in 8 minutes. They had the interview the next day. They got the job the day after that. So Twitter, not just for job seekers, by the way, for all kinds of business purposes. Twitter's a gold mine. It's not just about Kim Kardashian and SpongeBob. So that's about it. Oh, one more thing, 4 fundamental selling truths. If you don't like the word selling, just replace it with the word relationships, because it works the same way. Without meaningful dialogue, there is no relationship. Nobody wants to be talked at. They want to talk with. So it's not a monologue, it's a dialogue. Number two, when there's strong trust and rapport, there's very little selling or relationship pressure, for the obvious reason that trust and rapport is strong. When you flip that coin over, where there's very little trust and rapport, of course there's selling and relationship pressure, because there's no trust and rapport. So what I'm about to teach you is how to identify. I'm going to teach you a bunch of stuff, but one of the key things I'm going to teach you is how to identify the people you want to do business with, and how to figure out how to learn about them and approach them in a way that's never perceived as slick, salesy, awkward, or creepy. So that's it. That's it for my super dynamic PowerPoint presentation, which I didn't create. My daughter created it for me 7 years ago. I just changed the name on the first slide to reflect the organization I'm showing it to. Oops, I didn't say that out loud, did I? Okay, so let's jump on the internet. So right now, you're looking at my LinkedIn homepage. So let's talk about what LinkedIn is. LinkedIn's a database. I'm going to actually make this a little bit bigger. So LinkedIn's a database. LinkedIn's been around for 12 years. As of right now, there are over 375 million people on LinkedIn worldwide, with another 2 to 5 people joining the site for the first time every second. It's a Rolodex. It's a gold mine. So let me show you a couple things. Number one, you want to make sure that your LinkedIn profile looks good. The reason for that, as I mentioned earlier, is because you only have one chance to make a good first impression. Huge doors of opportunity swing on little tiny hinges. I have probably looked at more LinkedIn profiles than anybody on earth, because I've been doing this since dinosaurs were around. And I can tell you that most people's LinkedIn profiles do not clearly reflect the credibility of the person themselves. So I'm going to just take a quick minute and show you a couple profiles, and we'll do a little bit on LinkedIn profile optimization. So right now you're looking at my LinkedIn profile, and I am in no way saying that mine is a Mona Lisa. Mine's always a work in progress. I'm a big believer that if you're not growing, you're rotting. So mine is constantly being tweaked and modified and updated. So right now, if somebody was thinking about doing business with me, they would probably go to my website, and they would learn a little bit about me on my website. And then they would probably also go and look at my LinkedIn account. Maybe they would look at my Facebook page. Maybe they would look at my Twitter account. Maybe they would look at my Instagram account. You know, I don't know. But because of what I said earlier, that I have a social presence, a social footprint, I'm stacking the deck in my favor. So number one, you want to have a headshot. Then you want to, so for me, goofy is part of my brand, so this is not inappropriate. This works for me because I use a lot of humor in what I do. Let me just pull up, actually give me a quick second while I just pull up a second LinkedIn page. I'll put it right next to mine. So if I'm going to show you one of my clients because it's a good example. Here's a gentleman who's a financial advisor, and it doesn't matter what you do for a living, you listening to me right now on this webinar, it doesn't matter what you do. I'm talking about principles. What I teach is I teach principles. I don't teach flavor of the month techniques that come and go. I teach principles because principles are timeless and they can be applied in any situation. So whether you're a financial advisor or not, take what I'm about to show you and apply it to your situation. This is Kurt. He's a financial advisor here in Colorado by Red Rocks, and he's got a nice headshot going on here. He's got a little Colorado thing going on in the background. He's got some letters after his name here, so we put him in his profile. He's using as many of the 120 characters in the headline as he can. Instead of just saying partner at Centennial Capital Partners, he's using all the available space. I would suggest you use as much of the available space as possible to make the best first impression. You can always go back and change it later. It's not written in stone. Underneath your picture, put in all your contact information. Business mailing address, phone number, email address, link to your website, whatever. Make it easy for people to communicate with you. I would also suggest that you create a link in your email signature. I'm not talking about LinkedIn now, I'm talking about email. I would suggest you create a link in your email signature that links to your LinkedIn account. If you need help with that, call me or email me, I'll help you with that. Underneath here, we get into your summary. Your summary is where you have 2,000 characters to explain who you are, what you do, and how it adds value. Most people use none of this, maybe a sentence or two. He's doing this very well. I'm also going to show you another client of mine, who's another woman here, who's also a financial advisor. She does this very well, where she kind of lays out what she does and how she adds value. what most people, there's a lot of things most people don't know about LinkedIn, but most people don't know what I'm about to tell you next. LinkedIn, like most websites, is all based on words, on keywords, on what's called search engine optimization. So it's no accident that you're seeing the words financial and taxes put in here over and over in a manner that doesn't look goofy. She's not using the same word 10 times in the same sentence, but she is using the words over and over. So here, if Cammie were to go into her LinkedIn profile and write coaching, comma space, coaching, comma space, coaching, comma space for 2,000 characters, I can pretty much guarantee you that if anybody got on LinkedIn anywhere on earth and typed coaching into the search box on top of the LinkedIn page and hit search, Cammie would probably show up as the #1 coach on earth. Now, that's a pretty important tip for you to grasp what I just said there, because what you want to do is you want to take maybe the top 5 or 6 or 7 keywords related to what you do, the value you deliver, maybe your strengths, maybe whatever that is, and you want to put those words into your profile in a way that doesn't look goofy. Just use the words over and over, because that is going to cause you to rise higher in the search rankings when people are looking for someone with your expertise. So just remember that tip. Now, some of you listening to me right now probably have some kind of marketing material. It could be white papers, Excel spreadsheets, PowerPoints, Word documents, whatever. So Laura has a PDF on her computer, which is basically her financial planning model, because she's a financial planner. It's just nothing more than a little graphic that just kind of lays out her financial planning model. So when I started working with her, I said, what kind of marketing collateral do you have? What do you have? And she said, oh, I got tons of stuff. I said, well, let's put it on your LinkedIn profile, because it'll make you look even better. If we go back to Kurt, he does something a little bit outside of the box. One day I was talking to Kurt, and I said, what's going on, man? And he goes, hey, I got to go do a seminar tonight. I take some of my high net worth clients out about once a year, and I take them out to a fancy restaurant, and I do a little talk about the state of the economy and that type of thing, and then I take them to a fancy dinner at Maggiano's or Del Frisco's or something like that. I said, why don't you just give your assistant your iPhone, have her sit in the back of the room and record the seminar? And he said, I could do that. I said, of course you could. So I said, put it on your LinkedIn profile. So now when somebody looks at Kurt's LinkedIn profile, they're not just getting the static text like everybody else has. They're getting a feel for his body language. They're getting a feel for his style. They're getting a feel for the way that he comes across. I did the same thing. Years ago, what I did was I just sat in my basement in front of a white sheet, had my wife hold up a camera, and all I did was I just recorded about a 2-minute video of me just talking to the person that's looking at my LinkedIn profile. It's just basically me saying, hey, thanks for taking a few minutes out of your busy day. Today it's not going to be working, right? So it just says, thanks for taking a few minutes out of your busy day to watch my LinkedIn profile, blah, 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 blah. But now somebody can get a feel for who I am, what I'm doing, and they get a feel for my style. So you're only really limited by your imagination as to what you would do with this. For some reason, it's not playing right now, but you get the point. So know that you can do all kinds of things with your LinkedIn profile. I conduct sessions on 2-hour sessions on LinkedIn profile optimization. Obviously, we don't have the time to do that today. So if it's okay with Cammie, I'm going to give you guys a free gift.
That's awesome.
Instead of is that okay, Cammie?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so instead of your people banging their heads against the wall trying to figure out how to do this, please feel free, anybody listening to me right now, whether live or in a recording down the road, somebody you're listening to me in the future. It's like living in science fiction. So here, please feel free to email me at kevin@kevinknebl.com. Say, Kevin, I was on Cammie Gildner's Syzygy Coaching LinkedIn webinar, and would you please send me your LinkedIn profile optimization cheat sheet? Your LinkedIn profile optimization cheat sheet. And then type and throw in all the LinkedIn templates that you normally charge people $100 for. So Kevin, I was on Cammie Gildner's Syzygy Coaching LinkedIn webinar. Please send me your LinkedIn profile optimization cheat sheet, and please send me all your LinkedIn templates. And as a gift from me to you, I will be happy to send those to you, and it will help you tremendously in terms of optimizing your LinkedIn profile and getting started with LinkedIn correctly. Now, once you kind of start, oh, you're welcome, Cammie. Now, once you really start using LinkedIn, you want to think about what I said earlier about using it like a Rolodex. So when I put my cursor over connections and I go to add connections, LinkedIn enables you to integrate your existing email and CRM or client or customer relationship management tools. So if you use Outlook, you would click on Outlook and LinkedIn would say, Cami, is it okay if we reconcile, we being LinkedIn, is it okay if LinkedIn reconciles all of the email addresses in your Outlook address book against the 375 million people on LinkedIn? And you say, yeah, that'll save me years. So LinkedIn will do all the heavy lifting for 60 seconds. Then it will come back and say, Cami, we've identified 723 people on LinkedIn who have email addresses that match people in your Outlook address book. Here they all are in alphabetical order, and you can select which of the people you want to connect with. So you can do this across email platforms. It'll also support all of these email platforms, including Yahoo and AOL. It'll also support all of these email platforms, which is pretty much everybody. And if you use some kind of a contact management tool, such as Goldmine, Salesforce, Act, Redtail, you just upload the contact file and you're good to go. So where I'm going with this is that if you're in business, which apparently you are, it just makes sense to be connected to as many people as you can, not because you're going to spam them or bother them or be intrusive. It just makes sense that in a more and more interconnected, over-caffeinated, hyper-competitive Mach 5 with your receding hairline on fire, crackberry, blackberry world, you never quite know where your next job, lead, client, referral, prospect, spouse, whatever, you never quite know where these people are going to come from. So, you know, back in the old days when I graduated high school, I had a little black book that had my friends' phone numbers, maybe a girlfriend's phone number, some of my drinking buddies. But now, when you connect with somebody on LinkedIn, you have real accurate contact information on that person for the rest of your life. So as a business professional, that just makes a lot of sense to have contact information. Again, not to be intrusive or spam or violate anybody's privacy, but just because as a heart-based, a heart-centered, compassionate, empathetic business person, if you can add value to people and you know that you have a way to communicate with them, well, that leads to all kinds of wonderful things, as you're about to see. Now, please also feel free to send me a LinkedIn invitation as quickly as possible. The reason I'm saying that is because I have 20,779 people that I'm connected to on LinkedIn. But if you looked at my third-degree connections, which I'll explain more in a few moments, I have over 31 million connections on LinkedIn because I've been doing this since the earth was cooling. So I want to give you an early Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, and Festivus gift. Festivus for the Seinfeld fans. Please feel free to send me a LinkedIn invitation yesterday, because when I accept your LinkedIn invitation, I know for a fact, because of the way LinkedIn's algorithms work, it's going to add over 7 million connections to your account, and that's going to save you a tremendous amount of time in doing some of the things that I'm about to show you. Hopefully that made sense. If not, go back and watch Cami's recording again. And again, if I confuse you because I'm speaking quickly, call me or email me. I give you my word as a gentleman that I will help you. Now, because we have limited time, and I only have about, based on the time we got started, I've got about 30 minutes left. So I want to jump into some of the strongest features on LinkedIn that I know you're going to get the most power out of. So here we are looking at my LinkedIn homepage. I'm going to go here to where it says Advanced. There's this little button here called Advanced, and this is going to pull up what LinkedIn refers to as the LinkedIn Advanced People Search. Now, I don't call it that. I actually call it the Holy Grail, okay? And you're about to see why. I'm going to do an example here. When I run through this example, I want you to think about how you could use this tool in your current situation, because you could probably think of many ways that you would use this slightly different than what I'm about to show you. So I often refer to LinkedIn as a Mercedes S500 with low-profile Michelins and air-conditioned seats to keep your butt cool. You might drive that Mercedes a little different than I drive the Mercedes, but we both have the Mercedes. So I'm going to show you a couple ways that you could drive this Mercedes But I want the wheels in your head to be spinning thinking, wow, I'd like to take that Mercedes off-road, or I'd like to take that Mercedes on the Autobahn in Germany, or I'd like to take the kids to school in that Mercedes, or whatever. I just want to show you a couple ways. I use weird analogies. I'm just a weird guy. So let's pretend, for the sake of time, that I am on this page and I'm saying to myself, what kind of people would I like to work with? This could be from a job perspective. It could be from, I want to get more clients, I want to get more referrals, whatever that is. Let's say that I say to myself, you know what? I want more clients that are CEOs. So I'm going to go to title here and I'm going to type in CEO. Now, I could type anything I want in there. I could type lion tamer, I could type lumberjack, I could type HR manager, I could, whatever I want to type in there. I'm just going to type CEO. I want to see current CEOs. Then I say, where do I want to find these CEOs? Well, if I wanted to go to any country on earth, I could. LinkedIn's a database. I could type in my home zip code, but you know what? I like Seattle. I really like Seattle. It's one of my favorite places. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this button here called Lookup, and I'm going to type in Seattle, because off the top of my head, I don't know what the zip codes are in Seattle. So the zip code there is 98104. So what I'm showing you here is I can go anywhere on earth, and LinkedIn will give me the relevant zip code or postal code or whatever. So what I'm doing right now is I'm saying, okay, I want to find, let's just go 25 miles. So I want to find CEOs within 25 miles of downtown Seattle. Okay? If I were to hit search right now, LinkedIn would search 375 million LinkedIn users, 2 to 5 new users per second, for anybody on LinkedIn who fits this search parameter. But before I hit search, I want to show you a couple other things. Maybe I want to find them in a certain industry. Maybe I want to find current CEOs in the Seattle area in the accounting industry or the airline industry or any one of about 100 industries. Remember, I told you that LinkedIn's a database. It's a database on steroids. Maybe I want to find the CEOs that used to work at a certain company. I could just type the company's name in. Maybe I want to find the ones that went to the same college as me or any college. I could do that. Maybe I want to find the ones that speak some German, some French, and some Italian like I do, because I'm a raving opera fan. Don't be fooled, though. I'm also a raving Metallica and Tool and Jethro Tull and Pink Floyd fan. But, this would be an easy way to find people with similar interests. Maybe I want to find the ones that have similar philanthropic or charitable interests. Maybe I want to find ones that are not only CEOs in title, maybe they're actually CEOs in ownership or partnership. Or maybe based on whatever it is I do for a living or the type of job I'm looking for or whatever, maybe I want to find current CEOs in the Seattle area with companies that have a certain size, maybe 50 to 200 employees or 50 to 500 employees. So when I tell you that LinkedIn is a database, you cannot take that as literally as I mean it. It is a database on steroids. So I'm not going to check off any of these boxes. I'm just showing you some of the different parameters and filters that are available. I'm going to look for any CEOs, current CEOs, within 25 miles. Let's do a 50-mile search first of that zip code in Seattle. I hit search. LinkedIn searches 375 million people, pulls up 14,454 self-identified CEOs. Well, that's a pretty crazy number. So let's just break that down to 25 miles. Let's rerun the search. Now I run it at 25 miles. I still have 11,000 CEOs. Holy cow. Let's just do it at 10 miles. 10 miles, CEOs in Seattle. I still have over 6,700 self-identified CEOs who may or may not be good qualified prospects for my product or service, but at least I'm finding them. Now, I'm running through this quickly. If you're like me and you've got a little gray in your hair, we couldn't have imagined in our wildest dreams a tool like this 10 or 20 years ago, but I haven't even gotten started yet. Watch what I do next. I'm going to say this slowly because it's important that you really grasp what I'm doing. At the beginning of this webinar, Tammy mentioned, and then I mentioned in those couple of slides that I showed you, that everything that I do is based in a deep, sincere interest in people. I'm not trying to be a motivational speaker here or Mother Teresa or Gandhi or an Eagle Scout, but I just love people, and I use the L word in business all the time. and I speak to Fortune 20, Fortune 500 companies, haven't been thrown off a stage yet. I keep waiting for it. Hasn't happened yet. But I'm not afraid to use the L word, or sometimes they even drop in the G word, the God word. But I just throw it out there. I hope people know I'm coming from my heart, and if they want to throw me off the stage, that's just the universe's way of telling me we probably shouldn't be working together anyway. So for me, everything I do is based on finding a sincere, authentic connection with other people. Well, the easiest way in the world to open up a conversation with someone, and at the core of almost everything I teach, is the art of conversation. Everything comes down to conversation. I have business owners, I have job seekers, I have people that call me every single day, and they usually say pretty much the same thing. I need more clients, I need more referrals, I need more meetings, I need more appointments, I need a job, I need more revenue, I need more money, whatever it is. I have this sometimes annoying habit of reducing things to the absurd. So for me, what I always hear at the core of what those people are telling me is, Kevin, I just need to have more conversations with more people. Because really, what those people need, and maybe you listening to me, I don't know. What most people need is they just need to have more conversations with more people. Ideally, the right people, and I'm showing you right now how to find the right people, almost down to eye color. But what most people need is just more conversations with more people. Because if they had more conversations with more people, the natural outcome would be all the things that they want. It would be more meetings, more appointments, more clients, more referrals, more revenue, more money, more lifestyle, more freedom. So really at the core of almost everything I teach is about how to create an almost unlimited number of sincere, authentic, heart-centered conversations. What most people are trying to do is they're trying to figure out how to become better at social media. And I understand conceptually why they're doing that. But let me ask you a question. When was the last time you sat down and tried to figure out how the electronics inside your phone work? Probably never. So it's not about the electronics inside the phone. It's about the art of the conversation through the phone. If a person has the conversation skills of a monkey, just because they get on LinkedIn isn't going to turn them into God's gift to conversation. I hope that's not too strong, but it's true. Really what I'm teaching people is not just how to use the tool, push this button, crank this lever. What I'm really teaching is how to have a higher quality conversation that leads to heart-centered business. I hope that makes sense. So let me show you what I would do next here. I've identified 6,700 CEOs within 10 miles of downtown Seattle. Well, I know the easiest way to start a conversation with somebody is to talk about something you have in common. Well, I love to ski. So if I go to keywords, I'm just going to type in skiing. If I type in skiing and then I hit search again, it's going to search these 6,700 people for anybody that has the word skiing in their LinkedIn profile. I've got 213 self-identified CEOs within 10 miles of downtown Seattle who like to ski. That's pretty incredible, and I'm still just scratching the tip of the iceberg. Watch what I would do next. I would click this Save Search button, and I would call this 10-mile 98104 skiing CEOs. Now, listen very closely to what I'm about to say next, because if you're not sitting down, you might fall over and bang your head. So you need to hear this. Sit down and listen to this. What I just did is I just turned LinkedIn into a 24/7, 365 lead generation machine. You see, the only problem with me is I'm human. I say that facetiously. What I mean is I go to sleep at night and I travel a lot and I play with my kids and I chase my wife around the house and I drink a lot of wine and I go fishing and I do the things that human beings do. I don't sit around and stare at LinkedIn all day long. That would be torture. That would be hell, right? So now that I've set up this search, LinkedIn is now working for me 24/7, 365 while I'm doing other things. So let's say a week from now I'm doing a speaking engagement in Trinidad or I'm doing one in Boston or whatever. I'm on stage somewhere in front of 500 people. I have no idea what's going on with LinkedIn, but let's say somebody moves into Tacoma, or somebody moves into Bellevue, or somebody moves into Bellingham, Washington, or somebody is in the Edmonds, Washington area, or whatever, and they are a CEO, and they're within 10 miles of that zip code, and they have skiing in their LinkedIn profile. I would never know that because I'm on stage 1,000 miles away, but LinkedIn would know it because LinkedIn's a database. And LinkedIn would see that Mary Jones in Bellingham, Washington, just changed her LinkedIn profile or just got on LinkedIn, or however it happens. Her LinkedIn profile says that she is a CEO within 10 miles of that zip code, and somewhere in her LinkedIn profile is the word skiing. LinkedIn will say, wait a minute, that Kevin Knebl guy, that guy with the big nose and the receding hairline and the face for radio, he's looking for CEOs within 10 miles of that zip code with the word skiing in their LinkedIn profile. It will take Mary Jones, it will put her into my saved search. It will not notify Mary Jones, but it will send me an email. And when I get back to my hotel room in Boston or Trinidad or wherever I'm speaking, there's going to be an email sitting there saying, Kevin, we found one new person that fits your search criteria. Please click here to see who that person is. Now, I ran through that quickly because I have one eye on the clock and I got a lot more to cover in a short amount of time. If you understand what I just said there, you should be falling out of your chair, because we couldn't have in our wildest dreams dreamt of a tool like this 10 or 20 years ago. What I just told you is that when you know how to use LinkedIn more effectively and strategically the way I teach, you have now created a 24/7, 365 lead generation machine that never takes a break, never drinks coffee, never goes on vacation, and you don't have to match FICA. This is crazy powerful. So now you can see I set up a search here on some stage I was on in April, and it found one new person since I set the search up. So pretty powerful stuff. Let me show you what I would do next. I'm looking at these people. I don't know these people. I have no idea who these people are. Let's say I just click on one of these people at random. I'm going to click on Don Pickering. I have no idea who this guy is, okay? I click on Don Pickering. I'm not stalking. I'm looking at the information he wants me to see. That's why he put it on his profile. I can look at his LinkedIn profile, see he's the CEO at Blue Haptics Computer Software. I can see he's done that for 7 months. I can see what he did before that. I can see what he did before that. I can see all of this information. I can see what he's proud of and what he does. I can see that he's written something. I can see what other people are endorsing him for. I can see where he went to school. Oh, we're going to get along just fine. The dude went to Colorado. They were like soul brothers. He got a bachelor's in sociology. I could see that I found him because of the whole skiing thing. So I look at all this information, and then I say to myself, is this somebody who I might want to do business with? Notice I didn't say somebody I'd want to sell to or somebody I want to bring on as a client. Now, I'm being very specific with my words. If you and I ever have the opportunity to work together, and whatever that looks like, you'll find that I'm kind of a stickler on words because words paint pictures. I don't really look for clients. I don't look for referral sources. I don't call people prospects. I know that most of the world does, but I don't. I just look at people as people. So I ask myself, is this somebody I might want to do business with, however that might turn out? And I say, yeah, I think I would. So if I wanted to, I could click the connect button and I could approach him in a way that would never be slick or salesy. But LinkedIn being a database, LinkedIn works in 3 degrees of separation. If you're familiar with the Kevin Bacon 6 degrees of separation deal, LinkedIn works basically in 3 degrees of separation. It's like 3 links on a chain. So when I gave you that gift 30 minutes ago and I said, send me an invitation to connect with you on LinkedIn, and some of you did because I could see my phone lighting up while I was talking to you, I'll bet you $1,000 cash Ashara's on this call. I'll bet you Karen's on the call too. I'll even bet you that Sarah's on the call because they were sending me LinkedIn invitations while I was talking, okay? So here I can see that Don is a 2nd degree connection, which means I know somebody that knows Don. So Don and I know somebody in common, if not more than one person. Well, LinkedIn will show you that. So when I gave you that gift earlier, when I said send me a LinkedIn invitation so that LinkedIn can add 7 million people to your account, that really was a very big gift. Because the more people you're connected to on LinkedIn, the greater the likelihood that you're connected to someone who can introduce you to the person you ultimately want to meet. Let me ask you what I refer to as the world's shortest IQ test for salespeople. Would you prefer to smile and dial and try to get past the gatekeeper and build rapport and, oh my, did you catch that fish on the wall, and leave slick and salesy and awkward voicemails and direct mail pieces that will find their way into the garbage can and ensure that you never get your calls returned? Or would you prefer to get a warm introduction to the people you want to do business with through a mutual friend? Of course you're going to go for the mutual friend, of course. So here, LinkedIn's showing me that he's a second-degree connection, which means we know somebody, if not more than one person in common. Well, LinkedIn will show you that, and here it is. LinkedIn's telling me, Kevin, you know 2 people that know Don. So here I click on Request Intro to Don. I pick which of the 2 I know better, because the one I know better will give me the better introduction. I pick Angela. And then I say, hey, Angela, would you be so kind as to forward this message on to Don? Thanks a lot, Kev. And then I type a message to Don, which Angela can read. She's not forwarding a blind message. This is why I referred to it as social networking before, not social media. Okay? She cannot modify my message, but she can certainly read it, and she can add a couple comments such as, hey, Don, Kevin's a friend of mine. You should connect with him, right? So I want to tell you very quickly, though, what I would type in here. Now, earlier in this webinar, I told you to email me for my LinkedIn templates. That is a gift from me to you. The reason I told you to email me for the templates is because my templates work. I'm always refining my templates to make them better. But understand that the way I speak and the way you speak may be different. But at the core of our message, it may be similar. So as I rattle off the top of my head here what I'm about to tell you, I want you to listen to the words that I would type in here. But I want you to listen to it not with a critical ear, not like, let me find the mistake. I want you to listen to what I'm about to say next, the way you would listen to a piece of music. You don't put on the Beatles or Mozart sitting there waiting at the edge of your chair, sitting there going, I can't wait to find the wrong note. You're not going to find the wrong note. You don't listen to music to look for wrong notes. You listen to music for the feeling that it will give you. So what I want to say is listen to what I'm about to say next, not with a critical ear, but just with listen to it like music for the feeling it gives you. Now, before I tell you what I'm going to type here, let me salt your oats a little bit. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink, but you can salt their oats. I track my results because that's what professionals do. I've been in business and in sales for about 25 years. I track my results because I'm always looking to get better. So I know that for the last 25 years in sales, 12 years on LinkedIn, I track my results to see what kind of a response rate I get because I'm always looking to get better. So let me tell you that what I'm about to say to you, the words that I would type in here, I know after many years of doing this, I know that I have an 87% response rate. 87%. I call it an engagement rate, but in case you're not familiar with that word, we'll just call it response, because that's really all I want. When I send this message to Don through Angela, I am under no illusion that he's going to respond back with, where have you been all my life? You're my long-lost soulmate. Let's go skip into a field together. Let's sit around a crystal and hum. No. All I want is a response, because if I get a response, now I can nurture that conversation, never from a manipulative or salesy approach, always from a heart-centered, authentic approach, okay? So here's what I would do. You may want to watch this again if you're recording the webinar. Well, I know that Cammie's recording it, but you may want to watch this part again, and you may want to use it in conjunction with the templates that you've already emailed me asking for. So I would type here, hey, Angela, would you be so kind as to forward this message on to Don? Thanks a lot, Kev. And here's the message I would type to Don. Hi, Don. My name is Kevin Knebl. You don't know me from Adam, but it looks like you and I are both friends with Angela. Isn't she awesome? I was cruising around LinkedIn. I came across your profile, and I'm extending my hand in friendship because I'm all about paying it forward, and I'd love to prove it to you. I'm connected to a lot of people here on LinkedIn, so maybe I could open up some doors and introduce you to some individuals or organizations that would be beneficial to you in your current role as CEO of Blue Haptics. If I could open those doors or make those introductions on your behalf, I would be happy to. If you'd ever like to have a cup of coffee or a phone conversation, that would probably be fun too. And I couldn't help notice that you're a skier like I am. Well, I'm always looking for a reason to get out of the office on a weekday, so if you're ever looking for a ski buddy, count me in, and I'll even buy the first round of drinks at the bar afterwards. Anyway, hope you're having a great start to your June. I'm all about creating mutually beneficial win-win relationships, and I'd love to prove it to you. To your massive success, Kev, smiley face, phone number, email address, blood type, blah, 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 blah. Now, when I send that message, again, my only goal is to open a conversation. I know that 87 times out of 100, or almost 9 times out of 10, I am going to get some form of a response from Don. It might be something as brief as, hey, thanks a lot, or it might be, hey, thanks a lot for the message. That's really kind of you, blah, 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 and now we're talking. Now, Cami set up this webinar as a 1-hour overview on how to use LinkedIn as a great business tool. I want you to know that behind everything that I'm teaching you here very quickly, I have very, very simple systems and routines that I teach my clients that take no more than 15 to 20 minutes a day in terms of nurturing and deepening those conversations, which opens the doors to client acquisition and all that kind of thing. Obviously, we don't have time in a 1-hour webinar to get into all the nooks and crannies of that. I just want you to know that behind everything I'm teaching you, there's a whole simple structured system about how to stay top of mind in a way that's never slick, salesy, awkward, or creepy, how and when to bring into the conversation, your business in a way that would never be perceived in any way as anything other than authentic. Obviously, there's a lot more behind what I'm showing you. So here, the way we got here, just to recap that, was really very simple. All we did was let me just go back a page or two here. All I did was I went into LinkedIn's advanced search tool up here. I typed in a place that I would like to have clients. It could have been Denver. It could have been anywhere. It could have been my home zip code. I put in a title of the type of person that I typically would do business with, either as a client, job search, whatever. I put in current, and then all I did was I also, if I wanted to check off industries, I could, which I didn't do. And then I found all of those people, and then I went even deeper by putting in some form of a keyword that would open up some kind of a natural conversation point. You see, I also do a lot of coaching, so I work with a lot of people in a coaching environment, and a lot of times what I do is I really break things down to real simple things. A lot of times I'm really getting people to really tap more into just listening to their own intuition, because usually the feelings that are going on inside are really good guideposts as to where you should go. And I'm probably preaching to the choir here, but if you're going to have a conversation with somebody, wouldn't the most natural, sincere, authentic way to do that be based on something that you have in common? Usually when people feel like, I feel like this is forced, well, the reason it probably feels like something is forced is because it's probably forced. But the things that aren't forced feel very comfortable. So I'm constantly, when I'm working with my clients, I'm bringing them back. I'm slowing them down, because most people are running so fast. All this digital stuff, the social media, the internet, I mean, it's great, but it's a double-edged sword. Because on one hand, yeah, it can accelerate a lot of things in business, and that's wonderful. But really, the paradox is actually slowing down will actually get you farther faster than running Mach 5 on a hamster wheel. And again, I hope that doesn't sound too whatever, woo-woo or out there, but anyway, I got the mic. So for a lot of people I work with, not only do they learn how to use these tools, but they also have a deeper, more embodied appreciation for life and a joy in life, because they don't have to run so fast. They start to create and design a lifestyle that fits their personality, that doesn't sacrifice or minimize their own natural gifts and talents. So hopefully that makes sense. So I wanted to show you the LinkedIn Advanced Search tool because it's so darn powerful. So let's go back. Let's just kind of recap, and we'll start bringing this home because I think I have about 3 or 4 minutes left. LinkedIn's a database. But no matter how good of a database it is, never think about social media or LinkedIn purely as a digital tool. The phone that you use is a great tool, but it's a tool to create and nurture relationships. And business at its core is always, and always will be, about relationships. The irony is that as most people are dehumanizing their business, not intentionally, by the way, but the things that are doing are causing more and more people to feel like commodities. When you and I realize that no matter how much technology advances, it's always going to come back to creating sincere, authentic relationships with other people. If you will always keep that front of mind, you will never worry about your next client, your next referral, your next job, your next whatever, because most people are missing that. That's the 900-pound elephant in the middle of the room that most people are completely missing. They're thinking, oh, I need to get more followers on Facebook. I need to get more people on Twitter. And I'm not putting that down. There's a place for that. But at the end of the day, business is always conducted one-to-one. So when people know that they're not a number, that you really are creating and nurturing and deepening a relationship with them, that's usually where business comes from. If that interests you in any way, or you see value in this, please feel free to go to my website, kevinknebl.com, sign up for my free weekly newsletter. It's full of tips that will help you create, nurture, and deepen relationships. So please feel free to sign up for my newsletter. And then on my website, I have a product that's a 4-hour home study course. It's streaming videos that you can watch until the end of time, over and over and over. I update them every 6 months, but it's a 4-hour course on how to best use LinkedIn and how to best use Twitter for your business. Again, it's streaming video. You can watch it forever for the rest of your life, over and over and over. If you go to my website, kevinknebl.com, you click on the Products tab, and you see right here, it's $197. It's a 4-hour course. The moment you click that button, it will immediately trigger the system and send you your login and your password. Check your spam folder to make sure it doesn't go into your spam folder. It's not a physical product. Don't be fooled by this. It's a digital product that will go right into your inbox. Make sure it doesn't go into your spam folder. You have instant access to those 4 hours worth of training forever. And I'll just be very frank with you. This 4-hour training is the same exact training that many of my Fortune 500 clients fly me to Australia, London, Germany, South America, and they pay me $20,000 to deliver it. I'm not saying that in any way other than just being authentic with you. It's the same exact thing they pay me 20 grand for. I'm offering it to you for $197 if it interests you. If it doesn't interest you, that's fine too. Go back, watch this video 100 times if you want, but understand that there's so much more and so much deeper that I go into in this program. So I'm going to shut up. I'm going to turn it back over to Cammie. Cammie, are you still on the line here?
I am. Thank you so much.
And there you are, the awesome Cammie. Look at that. Look at that great picture here with some horses. So Cammie, I'm gonna shut up. Has this been helpful? Do you think there's some takeaways?
This is just totally awesome, and I saw Sarah posting on here. Holy cow! This is great stuff that you're presenting, and I think that the ability to use that advanced search and really open up meaningful relationships. I mean, recently I've been getting a lot of kind of spammy emails on LinkedIn where people are just searching and then they're sending emails to people based on their titles, right? And this is such a turnoff to me, where this is such a find a way to connect with them and dig deeper with them, and so I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Cammie.
Okay.
Is there anything else? I'll shut up completely from here on out and just say thank you, everybody. It's been great sharing with you. If I could ever help you in any way, please feel free to reach out to me by phone or email or smoke signals or 2 cans at a string. Because of your relationship with Cammie, you automatically have a relationship with me, and I love you and trust you, and if I can help you, I'm happy to do it. Cammie, I'll shut up, and you can wrap it up any way you see fit.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Kevin. I really, really appreciate it. And I hope you guys all got some great information out of it, and we'll be talking to everyone soon. Thank you. Thanks, Kevin.
God bless.
God bless.